Hello and welcome to part 2 of our off-track special in Bolton with 217 Lee Fairhurst. We're going to head down now into Lee's workshop and we're going to talk all things stock cars. So Lee, this is your workshop. I'm just going to say, right, do you know when we've been to other people's workshop, it's been like pristine and tidy?
Bit of a mess at the minute, I'm not going to lie. It's been quite busy. My dad usually does a bit of tidying up, but we've been that busy.
Yeah.
So this is probably the worst. It's the worst state you'll see it. Okay. But I do apologise.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not offended. It's a great space. You've got a great space in here.
Yeah, we're lucky, obviously, with the unit and Ian and Michael Stewart obviously help us with the unit, and he stores his car next door as well. So obviously it works out good for us both.
Yeah. So stock cars is your day job. Prior to that, you had a job, a normal job, I guess. So what prompted the decision to kind of go, right, I'm going to do stock cars as my career, and you know, that's going to generate me money? And was it a risk for you to kind of go, right, steady income there, stock cars over here? What was the decision?
Yeah, just I used to be a vehicle technician, commercial technician at Ford, for a Ford main dealer. And obviously just the more success we had with racing and things, and more people wanted me to help them and do bits and bats for them, so it just stemmed from there really. And obviously just been doing it quite a few years now, and it's turned out all right. So
was it a big decision to make though?
Yeah, it probably was at the time. Yeah, obviously wasn't in this unit to start with. Yeah. It was in another unit, but yeah, it's just stemmed from there, and obviously just never go time for work really, but the phone keeps ringing and people keep asking me to do stuff. So it's one of them. Obviously, if they see obviously what I do and my presentation of my cars, and obviously that bodes well for, they know what I do and know what I can do. Yeah. So if they like what I do, then obviously they ring me.
Yeah. I think the reason it prompts my question, you know, my job is like, you know, salaried, you know, I get paid depending on, you know, whatever. So, but I guess I always think that people who are self-employed, it's more of a risk, isn't it? Because you're never going to know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. And it's always that risk. Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, it's all part of my hobby as well. Obviously, it was difficult at the time because obviously you mix business with pleasure. Yeah, obviously, it don't always turn out good sometimes, does it? But it's all right. Obviously, it gets a bit full on sometimes. Obviously, being here, and obviously I'm not like very local. Don't live locally to here now, so obviously it's a bit of a journey to get here. That's another issue. But obviously, we're just doing what we can do for the time being, and yeah.
So what does a typical day look like in Lee Fairhurst race car fabrications? What does it look like? What time do you start?
Probably a lot of grinding and welding usually, and obviously getting really stuck in. But obviously it's just get here and whatever jobs I've got lined up at the time this week, and obviously try and look for the week after and see what's coming in there, and try and delegate and get stuff picked up and dropped off from there really. It's just yeah, it's just all sorts of fabrication with stock cars and maintenance and setup, and obviously a few new builds trucked in, so yeah.
So what time do you start in the morning?
Oh, probably way too late, but probably way after time you get up. I used to get up, I'm not really a morning person, but now I get up earlier probably than most people with William, so obviously I've got to do that. Drop him off at nursery or drop him off from my mum's or whoever he's going that day. I'll sort him out and then get him breakfast and then just come here for whatever time I get here.
Yeah, that's all right. It's nice.
There's no clocking in procedure.
Is there not? I was saying, I didn't see the clocking in machine down there.
It's probably a good job because I'll probably be sacked by now.
So looking at the cars you've built, you mentioned you're obviously building cars. You know, there was a huge amount of attention to detail. Do you enjoy building stock cars? And when you are doing that, do you have a plan? Is it all sort of drawn out, or is it come from your head?
Yeah, you do have a bit of a plan what you're going to do, and obviously the similarities between each car, you can see that. With what I do, I don't like doing repetition, and I like to do every build better than my last build. So you know, everything, whether it just be a little bracket that's designed different and easier to maintain or get to, or just anything like that, I'll just try and improve on what I've done previously when I've found problems in the past, and just try and make everyone better than my last one, like I say. But yeah, it's obviously the base plan is obviously it's just set out, and obviously we just try and make them as neat and as tidy as possible, and you know, presentation is pretty much key, I think, for getting future work, and obviously performance as well.
So like with your job, you've got different aspects to it. Is building a car the most enjoyable, or is that the most when you don't enjoy? Do you enjoy doing other things more, I guess, with stock cars?
I think with stock cars, it's with most things, you get jobs in and then they end up stemming to something else as well. Yeah. It's like a never end. You just end up running into problems with stock cars all the time. So when someone books something in for something, you end up doing something else as well. As long as it's just the nature of the stock cars, I think they're just a nightmare to work on.
Yeah.
And there's so much maintenance involved. I'm sure every team and driver can appreciate now when they race like how much goes into maintaining them and getting them ready for each weekend. I think that's what fans don't see sometimes. And like I was just talking to you about my cars previously, it's just there's so much work that we've done, and to the naked eye they've just had a quick splash of paint and away you go. But obviously with what we've done to them, we're hopefully going to see the results when we get out there.
Yeah. So lots of drivers are building cars for other people now. Where do you pitch yourself against the competition?
I don't really look at it as competition really. I think if people are getting new cars built and people are wanting work to be done on cars, then it's good for everyone involved in it. It's good for the sport in general, and I don't look at any car and look at it as competition really. It's just I do my thing and get on with what I want to do. If people want me to do stuff for them, that's their decision, and they ring me up. So there's no like rivalries and competition between car builders and people who do it. There's a lot of people who do it now. When I first started, there wasn't.
Yes.
So just take each day as it comes and just focus on what I've got to do, and that's that.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that I've noticed since my involvement with stock car is that's the evolution of a lot more people are outsourcing repairs and things to do with stock cars because they just don't have the time themselves to do it, and that kind of benefits the sport in some respects because it gets cars on track and enables people to race when they wouldn't potentially have been able to do so.
Yeah, obviously you've got drivers from every aspect of life really, don't you? Like people who just want to turn up and race full stop, or they want to do a little bit but they need a little bit of professional help, or someone with experience who's done it before to get the job done, or someone who wants someone to do it like a proper job on it and get it back as it is. So it's, like I say, you get different aspects of work and life related stuff that gets delegated. So it's just whatever people decide to do.
Which is all good for you.
Yeah, it's like I say, the phone's always busy, and recently I'm lucky I've got my dad and a good team of helpers to get my car anywhere near the state that they are now, because I've just been so busy with work. It's been crazy busy, so it's all good.
Good. In terms of talk about building cars, you've been involved with Formula 1 since 2009, sort of racing. What's the biggest change you've seen from then to now in terms of the way your cars are constructed, or what we do with stock cars?
I think just the sheer presentation of cars has come on leaps and bounds in the last probably 5 to 10 years since I started. I mean, I think like the paint jobs and just the details of the finish of the cars is just really good now, and it can only be a good thing for people who's from outside the sport looking in to look at the cars and think like it gives them the wow factor and look how that looks, sort of thing. And I think just that's what I'd say the biggest change with it. I mean, the basics on the cars, apart from a few rule changes and stuff, that not really changed much, but just presentation.
But it does, we talk about almost semi-professional at times, isn't it, stock cars? But it does, you take somebody to Bradford and you go, this is Formula stock cars, and it's not just sheds going around on the track anymore. It's like very well presented, almost professional looking machines that are out there. Yeah,
and obviously you've got 30 odd of them going around now, and instead you might have had 10 pristine cars and then obviously the rest of them proper stock cars. But it's just where the sport's headed, and obviously from my point of view, like I went to, when I first started to go to New Zealand, I was looking around cars around there, and just absolutely immaculate machines, and to do what they do with them, it just seemed madness to me. But so that's what they do, and obviously once I come back from there and once you've seen what they do and how they do things, then you try and like raise yourself to that sort of level and do the best you can over here.
So you mentioned New Zealand. In part one we talked about driver rivalries. When you go over to New Zealand and you race, you're very much part of a team, and you've become an integral part of Team GB. So how do you then switch from being I'm racing for myself to I'm racing for these guys?
Just a different way of, that's why obviously it's very foreign to us, and different way of thinking altogether, because obviously you've just got to do the best and what's best for the team, and sometimes you put yourself in harm's way, and you put yourself on the line to obviously help the team, not necessarily get the result for yourself. So obviously, to be honest, it's not. I don't think anyone's been out there and raced for Team GB and been selfish, and race for themselves. It's always been a good team effort, and that's why we've got the results that we've got, even with like the names that people mention, like they want a superstar team, for example, but it doesn't work like that. It's the 4 drivers or 5 drivers even who work the best together. So that's the key.
When I've seen sort of videos of New Zealand and pictures, it just looks next level in terms of stock car racing. It's the crowds, the atmosphere. It just seems.
I'm taking you next year.
Oh yeah,
you're coming with me.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
You can bring Roger if you want.
No, I'm fine to travel on my own.
Yeah, we'll book the seats now. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be good to get over. It'd be good if you. Obviously, I advise it for every stock car fan to go over and experience it. It's just unbelievable atmosphere and different way of thinking. And obviously, once you've seen what they do, it's brilliant.
So in terms of car construction, it's a lot more brutal than our racing. Do you bring some of them ideas back to when you're building cars and think, I've seen that might work, and we can kind of tailor that to Bristol Formula 1? Yeah,
some things, and I think obviously Tom and Ryan, when they go and race the sprints in US, I think they do that as well. Obviously, just the nature of the thing. Obviously, you see things you like and what might work on stock cars, then you try and implement it, don't you? So, obviously, definitely, I've took a few things and learned a lot over there, and took it with me. And obviously, I'm lucky that I've got people who are there I can contact, and they help me with it as well. So
yeah, good. So, and just to clarify, 2023, I can come to New Zealand with you.
Yes.
So Lisa's heard that. That's on video.
So,
Lisa
I'll get the word for hopefully Jacqueline and William can come with us as well.
Excellent, good. Right, so mention Jacqueline. So stock cars is full-time in the week. When you're racing, it's full-time at weekends. When you go home, is it a stock car no-go zone, or is stock cars very much kind of the topic of conversation around the dinner table?
Well, like with William now, he's got more cars at home than anything, stock cars and Lightning McQueen cars and all that, so it's you don't get away from it. But I think it's when I do get home, Jacqueline asks me like, what have you been doing at work, for example, sometimes, and I'm just like, just leave it out, sort of thing. I just need to switch off for a bit. But she does understand. Like, obviously, I just need just a bit of time just to switch off, and obviously when you're here, sometimes the phone's going, you're trying to work at the same time, and then you're away at weekend race, and it just all it's all batting off each other. But obviously, when I do get home, we it's not a no-go area, but it's just nice to relax and switch off for a bit.
So Jacqueline obviously raced a few years ago and stopped. Would you like Jacqueline to come back and race, and then you could be like a Formula 1 sort of power couple, couldn't you?
Yeah, she's hoping to get a licence anytime soon, and obviously she's keen to do a few shale meetings as well. So she wants to experience that and do a few shales. So, and obviously we'll have a look at the fixture list later on in the year and see if we can get her out and do a few skeggies maybe or something like that. So
you can knock a car up in here. There's enough bits lying around, couldn't you? No, it's a quick 10-minute job. It's
just doesn't take long, does it? So that's what most people think. But obviously I've got my time at car. I'm not chasing points this year. So it's been nice to just sit back and relax. And obviously when we do go racing, obviously we'll hopefully there'll be a few meetings where she can jump in a seat and have a go. But
it's great that you've both got that interest in Formula 1. It makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. When you're obviously we both come from the same background, so we're the late nights sometimes and stuff like that, and it's obviously she understands all that, so it's good.
Yeah. Lee, thank you very much for talking me through stock cars. Tomorrow night we'll bring you part 3 and the reveal of Lee's refurbished shell car for the 2022 season.